Hi guys, welcome to this next video in this part series where we're having a look at the idea of spreadsheet formulas. Now what we're up to is this section here. If we have a look back on the learning objectives, we're up to basically where we're going to be looking at the use of multiplication and division formulas, and if we get time we'll also get into having a look at maximum and minimum formulas. Okay, so this is where you should have got up to by the end of the previous lesson, okay, where we've essentially typed in the sales figures for January through to April, and on the last video we had a look at using this sum formula, okay, which you can also remember type in, or you could also use the idea of this auto sum. Now I'll just maximize my screen there so we can have a look at that, and that's this auto sum formula here, which we filled down here. And we also had a look at the use of the basic addition formula using just the plus sign, where we added together the total for books and total for CDs all the way across here, and we also got the total sales for the total books and the total CDs. Now just be careful, as I was clicking there, clicking all over the place, just be careful that you don't do the same thing and accidentally muck up one of your formulas. If you find that you've typed in the wrong place or clicked on the wrong cell, just press escape and that should get you out of that. Alright, so coming back to where we're going to be carrying on, which is going all the way down here to using division and multiplication formulas. So as it says here, what the spreadsheet also is going to do is we want to figure out the amount of GST payable from total sales. And it says for this we're going to use the division and multiplication formulas. Now it gives you a little tip here that in New Zealand, it reminds you that in New Zealand GST, the goods and services tax, is 15%. It says we therefore want to add GST to the price of the products and services by adding on that 15%. And tells us also that for a product price that already includes GST, you can calculate how much GST is in the total figure as follows. You multiply the total price by 3 and then divide by 23. Now that sounds a little bit like a magic sort of formula, and we're just going to essentially use those two steps in a moment, and we're not going to get into the mathematics of why that works. We're simply going to use it. So it says here, these are the steps we're now going to follow. So it says in G4 we're going to put a heading in, GST amount. Notice that we're simply carrying on with this F and G sales exercise 4. This is not a new spreadsheet. So I'm going to press enter there. That heading's getting a little wide, so I'm going to widen that column G to make it fit. Format to bold and centered. Okay, so bold and centered. If necessary, adjust the column width. I've already done that. It says then in G6, enter this formula. So what we're going to do is we're going to take F6, we're going to multiply that by 3 and then divide that result by 23. Now they use brackets here, which is perfectly fine, but I can assure you that the brackets in this case wouldn't be necessary. Okay, so we're getting that result of 1597.58, and let me just move back to here. Interesting slight difference there, and I'm not too sure why that is, but I can't see anything wrong with the formula. Let me just check these have been typed in. Okay, so one thing I might need to do is to go and check that these figures for January through to April are correct. So I'm just going to pause the video for a second while I do that. Alright guys, just back here again. I've checked the figures that should be in for January through to April here, and they're definitely correct. So I think it's a little typo actually in the workbook. Alright, so the next thing it says is to autofill the formula all the way down to G18. Can you remember how to do that? Yeah, click on the, or hold down the left hand mouse button on the fill handle, bottom right hand corner, and drag all the way down there. It does say to delete the 0 or the dash symbol showing in the empty cells. So these ones here, let's clear those contents. Okay, so I've done that. And it says at this stage to save your workbook. We should be saving every few minutes anyway, so just save that, and let's move on to the subtraction formula. Now it says F and G now need to know what the net sales amount will be after GST is deducted from the total sales. So this is the GST amount, so this one here, if I click in G6, this is the amount of GST included in this total sales. And so what we want to do is we want to figure out and put here what the total sales amount would be after we subtract the GST. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a heading in H4, and the heading's going to be quite a wide one, but we'll deal with that in a moment. Now this says total sales net GST. What that essentially means is it's total sales minus the GST. Net is essentially a word there that means after you've taken something away. Now we could make this column here this wide, but it's looking a bit ridiculous being that wide compared to the others. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to click on this wrap text to basically make the cell look like this one here. If you look at the workbook where I'm just clicked on and made that blue background there. Okay, so let me just widen that so I can get to the correct place. We want to click inside that cell and then click on wrap text. So notice that it has kept the width the same, but it has made the cell a lot deeper. Now the effect of that, of course, is that all the other cells to the left or to the right of it also now have that same depth, and that's fine in this situation. Okay, so let me just get that back, and it asks us to bold and center the heading. It's already bold, so let's center it. Okay, it says in H6, let's put a formula which is going to take F6, this is the total sales, and subtract the GST amount. So let's do that, equals F6. Now I did that just by clicking on F6, minus, and now I'm clicking on G6 to get that, or you could type it in and press enter. And once again it's giving us a slightly different result here. Once again, either I've made a mistake somewhere which I can't pick up, or the workbook's got a slight error here. Alright, autofill all the way down to H18. Okay, let's delete these zeros here, so highlight them, right click, clear contents, and that one down there as well in H17. Alright, and let's save. It says once again save, but do not close. And what we're ready to do now is to move on to the maximum and minimum. Now I just want to double check to see how far we've got through things, so just a moment while I just check that. Okay, I think we can move on a little bit. Okay, so the maximum and minimum formulas. It says F and G need to know what the largest number of books and CDs sold in any one month is. So to find the largest, we're going to use this formula called equals max. So down here in A20, okay, we're going to put a little heading. We're going to put max full stop book sales. So that's the maximum book sales. Once again, this is now a bit wide, so I think we'll make that just a little wider there. That's fine. I don't think we need to wrap that text, otherwise I think this way it looks at the moment is perfectly fine. Okay, and it says in B21 enter this formula. So we're going to go equals, then max, open a bracket, and it says B13 to B, oops, I've jumped down here. Okay, in B20 we want equals max B6 to E9. So that's this from here down to here. Now I can certainly type that. So B6 colon B9 close bracket. Doesn't have to be a capital B. Press enter and we've got our max figure there. Okay, and that's looking perfectly alright, although once again it's not matching up with the number that they're telling us we should be getting. And I'm not too sure where some of these numbers that they've got are coming from, because certainly that's not the maximum I'm expecting here. Okay, well let's move on anyway. I'm not going to worry too much about that for now. Okay, just one other thing I just want to point out. Instead of having to type in the B6 to B9, you can also, once you're ready to put in the cell range here, and that's what that B6 to B9 is called, it's called a cell range, you can actually just use your mouse, click in B6 and then drag down to B9. Notice that Excel automatically puts it up here on the formula line for you, and you can just close the bracket and press enter. Okay, and that's just actually what it says here in these bullet points. Okay, then it says in A21 we want to put another heading in, max full stop CD sales. So let's do that. Let's make that bold. Okay, and we want to enter a formula equals max B13 to E15. So equals max. Okay, I'm going to highlight from B13 to B15. Close that bracket, press enter. Okay, and once again that result that they're talking about isn't quite what I'm expecting it to be. And okay, looks like we're just typing in this one for January only, which is a bit surprising. Okay, because I would have thought we'd be interested in that for across each of the months. So what I'm going to get you to do is I want you to highlight B20 to B21, and then I want you to use your fill handle and drag that across January, February, March and April like that. So this gives us the maximum book sales and the maximum CD sales for each of those months there. Okay, it says now save and close, so let's save, and we'll catch you up in the next video. We'll be having a look at this next part here, which is calculating some profit and loss.